So look, now we at the game. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about what we saw from our South Carolina Gamecocks, and I'll I guess I'll take the start on this one. Um, None of what I expected that we talked about throughout weeks leading up until this game that I see in that game, other than the defensive line. The defensive line, the defense overall as a group looked like what we thought. They look like they made investments into making that defense better. Clayton White's group looked better. Dow Loggins, your group, my brother in Christ, I have no idea what that was. I have no idea what we were attempting to do because I don't feel like we were attempting to give Lenoris a truly successful game plan with the amount of quarterback runs. That for me did not sit well with him, with that being his first start. We talked about some of the guys that are on the staff that we know from other stops and Mike Shula, and we talked about his connection with Cam Newton and knowing that that's a real thing that he probably did have some type of input into how they want to operate with the Norris in that starting game. That wasn't the way though. The offensive line from pass grade wise, from blocking grade wise, they graded out well. I haven't gone back and rewatched the game. I can't say what it was on film. I only can speak on what I saw. It looked like a group that was very confused. I won't say they're not talented or they're not good. They look like a very confused group. The overall offensive group looked very confused. I didn't see any semblance of a plan or what we were trying to accomplish down in, down out. I didn't feel like we used Raheem Sanders the right way. Rocket Sanders had him running east and west when we know he's a north and south physical runner. That's where he's best at. Get him going north and south, and that's where you start to see the big explosive runs, the physicality, and all that. I just didn't think that we did a good job of working some of our younger guys in. I didn't think we didn't do a good job at all working Mazeo Bennett in. You wouldn't have thought he even played with the very few touches that he did receive. Not knowing how to get Nick Harbor going. Like you have an Olympic caliber runner on your team, and we can't figure out a way to get him a jet sweep, something, get the ball in his hands, let him create. I just felt like they didn't do a good enough job making this easy for Lenoris. I won't blame Lenoris at all. For a 19-year-old quarterback running the system that they're asking him to run, they didn't do a good enough job to make it easy for him to then just go out and play and just let the game be free. And against ODU, if you can't do that against ODU, I very much worry about what it looks like in the following weeks. But what were some of your thoughts being there live?
It seems just out of sync. I'm pulling up the stats right now. From what I saw. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Lenoris went 10 for 23, 114 passing yards. Rocket Sanders got 98 rushing yards, but rushed them 24 times. It's just my gripe was why are we running Lenoris 20 plus times against Old Dominion, and there's no knock at Old Dominion. I always gave them respect. I respect the Sun Belt because they can knock off anybody. They can give Georgia hell if they wanted to. They can give. Well, we saw Appalachian State. They started this with Michigan. You know what I'm saying? They can knock off the big dogs, and we know.
Absolutely.
So, my gripe is I don't get why we running Lenore's that much. Rocket, okay, I understand, cool, but you went and added depth to the running back room for this exact reason. So why not rotate those guys out, let them get some shine? I think we should have saw more Oscar Attaway. I think we should have just, we should have saw something better, Um, it was just out of sync, brother. It was just out of sync, man. They weren't synced in. It's the first half was just atrocious. It was atrocious. It was hard to look at. It was hard to watch. And it's really both sides. Lenoris, he couldn't make the sun, and that's what was getting me as well. Like Lenoris couldn't get a simple curl route to Nick. Like Nick, and the thing is, the receivers, like anybody, I feel like it's a lazy take to say the receivers weren't doing nothing because they was getting open. They were definitely getting open.
Absolutely. And see, that's the thing. I definitely feel like I hate to interrupt, but like I agree with Beamer at the end of the game where he said like we feel like we have a better group than what we display. We feel like we have a better group than what we had last year. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think the offensive line is better. I think the running back room is better. I think the receiver room as a whole, not excluding XL, is better because I think feel like we have more guys that are capable of contributing. It just didn't look like it in the slightest, and I worry about how can we get it to a sustainable level? How can we get it to a functional level within these upcoming weeks? Because when it's talent, what the answer is for talent, and it's recruiting, but it's all also coaching too. And we are, and again, you could never discount how much coaching means when you're trying to build a program. Like when you don't have all the talent, how can you as a coach put guys in the best position possible to be successful? And dialogue to this point has not earned any favor from the Carolina faithful, and deservedly so. He's done nothing that can make me feel confident about watching this offense on a week in, week out basis. So until he gives me something, we don't really have much reason to feel optimistic about what we're looking at this year.
No, you're exactly right. And I tried my best to give Dow the benefit of the doubt here. Um, you lost every QB1 he has coached. He's lost them to injury or some sort. And running your quarterback 20 freaking times is not the recipe of what that is just going to add on to what is the common denominator for what the problem is that you as an offensive coordinator. That's just going to keep on, applying there. So, I just feel like they let Lenore's down. I feel like they just didn't do anything to get him warmed up. They didn't get no dink and dunk plays. I didn't even see a simple slant. What is Dow Loggins' beef with a simple slant routes? I don't get his beef. I don't know. What is Dow's beef with just trying to get Neek warmed up, or what I'm saying? I don't know if he knows what he's doing. You know,
That's the question I have as well. You start looking at look at Old Dominion and the adjustment they made in the second half. Once they figured out that our pass rush is going to be there, what did they do? They go to, hey, one step drops, slants, hitches. Let's get the ball out quick. Let's negate the pass rush. They're clearly are able to get there. We can't hold the pocket. Let's run some QB draws. They're sending the house pretty well. The middle's opening up. Like, hey, let's try to do some things to counteract that. I keep looking over it. I'm saying, dog, when can we get an OC that can correctly put together a game plan and adjust to how teams are playing our team? If we had trouble with communication on the offensive line, because I don't think that what I saw from the offensive line wasn't necessarily just straight up getting beat. It looked like a lack of communication up front, more so than just getting manhandled. There's much more talent on that group than we've seen in previous years. If I'm being quite honest, it's probably one of the more talented groups in terms of just stars, like 4-star, 5-star guys than we've seen in Carolina in ever. If we're being completely honest, but the lack of communication with them is him bringing this NFL like system this has to be the problem, whatever it is, because if communication is being disjointed from the line to the quarterback, at least to the receivers, because you saw even plays between Jared Brown and Lenore's where, like, hey, Jared Brown's sitting down, Lenore's is still expecting him to keep going. Like the communication between the offense as a whole looked like a group that hadn't played a whole lot of ball together. And I guess that is credit to our defense. A lot of those guys have been here for a few years now. You got Nick Emawari, DQ Smith, who were out, they're in the third year as starters. Jalen Kilgore in his second year as a starter. Guys like Debo Williams, who's been here for I think 3 years now, is he not? So he's also a guy that's been here with Clayton White. So they have much more of a mesh, much more of communication, and even at times still you saw some lapses with them, but overall, I trust them to be able to right the ship when things go left. With the offense right now, with a young quarterback and an OC that I don't believe has been able to get through to his team and get them to understand, it does very much worry me. And I guess the question it begs to ask, like, who are we looking like? Are people rushing to Twitter fire Beam and Dow, or are they rightfully upset? And should there be real heat put towards those two as we keep moving throughout the season?
I think if anything, Beamer just gonna have to like. I feel like Beamer just really gonna have to like look himself in the mirror and be like, yeah, like I want to be cool. I want to be that guy that's light and stuff like that. But you need to throw that out the window, bro. I feel like you did you made a make a wish. You granted a make a wish hiring Dow Loggins. You know, and you we know like bro, you and I get it. It's tough. See, and that's the thing. I'm not no coach. I don't know what Beam could be thinking versus anybody else. You know, um, you got two guys with NFL experience, which is Mike Shula and Dow Loggins. You know, so I don't know if that concept is clicking with Lenore's. I don't think that fits Lenore's, and you may just have to make a change, dog. You may just, I mean, it's too late now. I mean, you might as well ride the wave for us this year, but this offseason, I feel like if things continue to go left, you definitely just gonna have to make that change that fits Lenore's scheme and fits what he's trying to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And but the thing we all know about the Beam era is that Beam is always late to make changes. He will not fire. He refuses to fire anybody mid-season, and I respect it in a sense that I feel like he's probably earned the trust from other coaches around, around the way, knowing that, hey, like if I get a job here, I will have the full season to be able to operate and fix and get things going. He'll allow me that time. And after that earns him favor amongst other coaches. But amongst the fans, that favor is wearing very thin. I'm in group chats fighting for my life right now. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. It's a bunch of guys that I know that want you fired. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but they definitely want Dow Loggins to get the boot. And I can't necessarily disagree either, because to this point, we wasted Spencer Rattler's senior year on what should have been a much more fruitful offense that should have bore us a lot more, should have been a lot more consistent, which had enough talent. It felt like to be able to compete for something a little bit more than what we had. And then right now, like you spoke about, Lenore's is a different type of quarterback. This isn't a traditional drop back passer. Even though I believe he can get to that point, the one thing that young quarterbacks always struggle with is tends to be timing and accuracy. Those two things usually come last for most quarterbacks. The arm strength and the talent is always there. You always see it, and we saw it on the deep ball to Jared Brown that ended up being dropped and also would have been called back anyway. You see what he can do arm talent wise as far as letting that thing rip. That's cool. Can you create an offense and create a system right now that he can operate on a down in, down out basis without having to worry or fret? He has to get acclimated to the speed of the game, because that was his first start, and we all have to keep that in mind. And you sent some very insightful messages over the weekend that definitely calmed me down, and we'll get to those. But right now, we gotta figure out what it is. Like, get a system that works for your guy. And like you said, I mean, we know Beam is late to changes, but he may be forced to do so because the Carolina faithful are not happy with what they've seen. And it's hard for me to keep telling them to be patient when we're not seeing progress being made.
I mean, it's really it has to be common sense at this point, don't you think? If the offense is just not clicking, or if it's we have a like I'm nervous as hell about Kentucky. I'm nervous because if that was an SEC team we opened up with, we would have got embarrassed easily. Imagine if we opened up with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt would have embarrassed us. Vanderbilt looked like Vanderbilt ruined my agenda over this past weekend because I had Virginia Tech winning the ACC. I had Virginia Tech going into their game with Clemson, at least what 8-1, 7-1, something like that. That's out the window. So we have to. I hope at practice today. I think they go back to practice. What, it's Tuesday, right? I hope they go back to practice today and they lock in. They got to get in sync. Yeah, I get it though. You're right though. This is Illinois' first game ever. You know, I was hoping with the little game experience he got last year, that wasn't enough. You know what I mean? That was just thinking up plays, you know, to wow the crowd, you know, to get the crowd excited for next year, what's to expect. But you know, that just wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we got it out of our system now. So my message for you to Lenore's being doubt. The matter of fact, not even just the whole offense. How do you respond now? How do you silence the doubters? Everybody that's counting. I'm not gonna switch up on you, Lenore's. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I was pissed off. I was hot, pissed, all that, this, that, and above on Saturday. But you know what? I calmed down. I breathed a little bit. I did some research. I was up on YouTube just looking at old Panthers games from the 2015, 2017. You know what I'm saying? You know, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
And when he said he was researching, he is not lying. My dog he was hitting us over in the morning. Like, brother, we getting texts, we getting whole breakdowns. He was dead serious about what he was looking at. I mean, and real quick, like you think about Connor Shaw in his first start. People forget. People forget. You know, East Carolina game was not pretty. It was very similar to what we saw against ODU this past weekend. We've had games against Vandy to open up the year. I don't know if anybody remembers that was a Thursday night opener against Vandy where we nearly lost. We had to win that game on a late second field goal. It's not unheard of for South Carolina to struggle in season openers. That is, that's pretty par the course for what we know. It will get better. Lenore's will get better from this. I'm gonna be real. I don't think there's a worse game he can play than this. Let me be clear, but I think this is going to be one of the worst games you're going to see from him throughout the year because I think he is going to get a grasp of it. I think they will learn each other. Hopefully, they learn each other and how to counteract and how to, do things that complement his play style well, so we can have a more successful offense. But like you said, man, the onus has to be on this offensive group. To how do we got to give the fans something to look at, like something to feel good about because Bean knows that performance wasn't worth a damn. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the locker room knows that as well. And that very much we were all disappointed in what we watched. Nothing really to take from that and be positive about. But it is what it is. Responding is how this will go from here on forward.
And what I wanted to see was, you know, let Illinois air it out more. Just let them fuck it. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. In practice, they need to let them pass more. Let them throw more. Let them get this simple stuff out. I don't know if because it was humid, his hands was, granted, we human, right? You're running somebody 20 something times, you know what I'm saying, so many times on one drive. Pretty sure your hands gonna be sweaty. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna have a good grip of the ball, you know. So I just have to see something better, bro. The fans have to see something better. And there was some play, and there was some plays that were designed. I mean, we got speed. We got speed at the receiving group. So I mean, I don't know if Dow just wanted to call a conservative game. Like, and if that's a conservative game, I can only imagine what the aggressive side of him is. Um, but we can't do this against Kentucky. We can't.
No, absolutely not. If we can, I guess we can get into what we think will happen against Kentucky this upcoming weekend. If I'm being honest, I can't pick us to win. I can't at all. Not after what I saw. I can't do it. On the road, um, I'm not necessarily sure what Kentucky's talent level looks like. You know what I'm saying? I don't know their overall talent level. There's been years in the past where they've had some guys, they've had some groups that were really solid, and we couldn't go man to man up with them. But I do feel great about our defense going into any game, especially against a Kentucky team that I don't believe has many explosive weapons on the outside. I didn't get to watch much of Brock Vandegrift, but they also played, I think, like Southern Miss, so it wasn't really much to watch. Um, I believe our defense will keep us in it. I got us probably losing by 13. I'd say about 20. What do I want to roll with? I'd say, yeah, give me 24-10. Give me 24-10 Kentucky for the win.
Yeah, just because I mean and I don't know if it's like humanly possible just for that performance on offense, you can just get it to turn around. We have seen it happen before. We have seen it happen before. 2022. That was with Spencer Rattler, though. The Florida. Everybody remember the Florida game, and then what we did with Tennessee the next week. Uh, it. I mean, hopefully we have a better game plan. They dumb it down. It's just that play calling with um that play calling Old Dominion. It just felt like Mike Shula was calling the plays, though. It just felt like the formations, the if you look at the steps that Lenore's was doing, it resembled too much of what Cam was doing. Like it's like they're saying, "Hey, we need you to step like this. Hey, to sell this, I need you to look like this when you get the when you snap." And I'm thinking like, I watched every game 2015 through 2017. The whole Mike. Basically, me and you both basically grew up doing the Cam and Mike Shula era.
Yeah. So when you brought
That
it
looked
up, and I'm
concerning.
like, it ain't. The main concern that we had, and we spoke about it, was that the biggest issue with those Panther offenses under Mike Shula was that there were long developing routes that we consistently ran. Which, if you go back and watch the Super Bowl, that's how we lost because we never had any counteract for Denver's pass rush. We never threw quick game. We never had a quick game style that entire 2015 season. We were typically able to run the football, so we were able to keep teams at bay and kept teams from being able to blitz nearly as much as they would like to. And our play action game was also strong. But when you straight up couldn't win up front, that changed everything. This game against Old Dominion was one of those where I'm saying, hey, can we do something to make it easier for Lenore's? Can we run some quick game? We believe we have speed. I believe Jared Brown can fly. Mazio Bennett, I believe, can also get going, has good quickness, and you have an Olympic track runner. Let's not this make it very clear. There is a lot of speed in that room. There has to be a way to run some type of quick game action to get those guys going and get the ball out of Lenore's hands. Now, Lenore's being able to throw with timing and anticipation is a whole other aspect, and maybe they don't feel like he can't do that right now. But I don't. I believe that has to be the answer. That will be the answer for any other competent quarterback that's playing. Go into quick game when the pass rush is getting there is the answer. They have to either Lenore's can or he can't, and if he can't, then you may need to get him out of there just to save him from further damage and what's going to be his psyche moving forward.
And that's what's and to piggyback off that, that's what's tough because if let me ask you this: if Lenore struggles the first half against Kentucky, will we see Robbie, a guy that has SEC experience that can try to help us out?
I think depending on how the game goes, I think it depends on if we're close. If we're close in the game, then maybe you stick it out with Lenore's. If the game has gotten away from us, then you throw in Robbie to see if Robbie can get some reps and see what he looks like with Dow Loggins in the offense. That's my thing. If you're close, you gotta stick with him as much as you can before you pull him, because once you pull him, I'm not saying you can't go back. It's just there's gonna be a building block of
Confidence.
building him back up. Like you
Yeah.
got because that the confidence is all built. It's all building blocks. You gotta. It's up here. It was up here to start the ODU game. It's probably down here now after that performance. Now the Kentucky game, you gotta let him see if he can figure it out,
Yeah.
do things to help him, but see if he can figure it out. Because this is the SEC. We know this is the toughest conference in college football. It will eat you alive if you're not mentally stable up here. You know what I'm saying? If you can't handle it, you can't handle the pressure, then we may need to get somebody else in there. I'm not in that boat yet. I very much still believe in Norris. I'm very confident in his ability. I'm my my uncertainty is only with this coaching staff and this
Yeah.
coaching staff only because I believe the talent is there in the room. We've seen it. There's 5 stars we got more 5 stars here now than we've ever had in school history. So we clearly know there's talent in the room. The coaching staff has to prove to me that they can then make that talent play better ball than what we saw on Saturday. But anything else we need to add before we roll up out of here with this Carolina topic, or do we? Or what you got?
I mean, last positive note, I think we just need to get defense their flowers. I don't know if we gave the defense their flowers, but y'all
Not as
saved.
much as we should have.
Yeah, yeah, y'all saved us. Y'all,
Absolutely.
it considered coming off
Kennard,
last year. Y'all
yeah,
saved it. Kyle
you did.
Kennard.
Yeah, yeah. Kyle Kennard, brush out to you. You had a hell of a Gamecock debut. Dylan Stewart, you were exactly what we said you were to going into this. You remember we spoke about. We said, he reminds us of a guy. Won't say no
Not your
names.
favorite.
Won't put no expectations on it. He reminds me of a guy. And damn it, I'll be damned if he didn't show up and play like that type of guy because he saved that game. So
Dylan,
shout
a
out to
freshman.
you, Dylan Stewart.
Man,
You win nephew of the week. You feel me?
boy,
You won you won nephew of the week by far. You know what I'm saying?
that man is one of one, dog. He was getting back there every. I'm talking about,
He's special.
bro, look vicious. Like,
He's special.
yeah, like you ever
He's
see
he's very much special. DQ Smith, hey dog, brother, I need better from you, big dog. We need better. I know you better than that. I know you better than that. I ain't gonna get, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get on you too much. I know you better than that. You see it. You probably seen them tweets too. You probably seen the comments and everything too. I know you probably see it. I'm gonna let you rock out this week. Don't do it again. Don't do that again. But
Hey, I was at that corner where I was at the kind of at the corner where that touchdown happened, and I was like, "Ooh." I wonder if they got my reaction on camera. Literally, I'm right over. I was seated right over there, and I'm sitting at the person. I'm
he
like, "Oh my gosh, he got fried!" Like
he broke that boy down like a family tent. I'm just going to tell y'all.
every way but loose. Turned them every way but fucking loose, boy. God, I
Hey,
that just
yeah,
crazy. And I was like, that's a hiccup. But that was the last hiccup out of him though.
it was. Oh, Donald Fortune too, as well. Right, that hell of an interception by Donald Fortune. Boy,
Another
you had
Neff.
a hell
He
of a
getting that
play.
for the week too. Oh, actually,
He
I think
get
he an old head though. I think he about wrapping up
he
his
OG
career.
now. He OG
OG,
now.
yeah.
I'm giving Neff to everybody. Sophomore and under, you can still get Neff for the week. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Kilgore can still get Neff for the week. And you know what I'm saying? He had a nice game as well. Game selling interception. Appreciate that. DBs were on everything. That's the one thing I didn't like. The DBs were on everything. They were in position.
Absolutely.
Any time a pass was caught, there was a Carolina jersey there on the spot. I like that. Hopefully these are things that we can build off of going week
Yeah.
to week.
Like the quick outs and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? When they get the first night, there's nothing you can do, man. You got a quick receiver, you got a quarterback that can place the ball like that and stuff. I like they was on that though. They didn't let him loose. The tackling is way better. I will say that. The tackling
Yes.
is so much better. They wrapping up,
Yes.
getting there. Nick Eamon my brother.
Well, you,
I'm so tempted. If the Panthers weren't so loaded on safeties, I'm so tempted to rev up their agenda, bro.
I made room for you.
I feel like that's the reason why I feel like that chief scout was there for him. If I'm not, if I'm
It is about that time for him.
yeah,
It's about
he's a
that time
junior.
for him.
I
It's
don't
just,
see him coming back for his scene. With that talent, bro, him, he's one of
that's, a,
one. My little
that's an
brother was like,
NFL
bro,
guy.
7 is one of one, and I'm like,
He's a
they not gonna
that's an
try
NFL
inside.
body.
They not gonna try.
Absolutely.
Bro, they not gonna try inside. They